Hi kids, I know you are waiting for the third part of the Hotel Flamingo Life in Lockdown story by Alex Milway, and I am here again with the third part. So let's begin from where we have left yesterday. The delivery lemur. It was early the next morning when T Bear heard a knocking at the hotel door. He peered through the glass to see a young lemur with a mask over his mouth and nose. Despite the covering, it was still possible to tell that the lemur had just woken up. "I'm Bobby," said the lemur, yawning, Lemmy's brother. The resemblance was striking even though he was only half Lemmy's size. "Aha!" said T-Bear. "Wait there." T-Bear raced away to tell Ona. He found her deep in conversation with Madame Le Pig in the kitchen. "The scones will never reach the palace in this," snorted Le Pig. "They must arrive in immaculate condition." Ona was holding a sturdy cardboard box lined with red tissue paper. The squid scones were nestled carefully inside alongside a pot of clotted cream and tiny jar of seaweed jam. "I think they will be very safe in here," said Ona. "But what if they arrive as crumbs?" snorted Madame Le Pig. "My reputation will be in tatters." "Excuse me," said T-Bear cautiously. "Bobby's here." "Then it's time to send them on their way," said Ona. Madame Le Pig tried to seize the box with her tortoise. She pulled, but Ona kept a very strong grip. "I have given the king penguin my word," said Ona through clenched teeth. The box was tugged back and forth until finally Madame Le Pig relented. She squealed in defeat. "Fine," said Le Pig, "but if they arrive with as much as a crumb out of place, I quit." "Thank you, chef," said Ona, retreating quickly. She sealed the box and headed out into the lobby. Lemmy was chatting to his brother through the door. He would found Bobby a spare hotel jacket and hat to wear and looked on proudly. "Now remember," said Ona, placing the box of scones in a bay within the revolving door, "do not take off your mask at any time, and treat the royal penguins with the utmost respect. You are an ambassador of Hotel Flamingo." Yeah, said Bobby. "So are you gonna pay me for this?" Ona pushed the door. It turned around and the box of scones skid over to Bobby. "When we hear word that the parcel has been delivered safely," said Lemmy. "Brilliant," said Bobby. He threw the box into his shoulder bag and picked up his bike. "Safely," said Ona. Yeah, said Bobby. "See ya." "We can trust him, can't we?" said Anna. As Bobby cycled off down the deserted Animal Boulevard. "Of course," said Lemmy. "He's my brother." It was a long wait before they heard news of the scones. "You like them?" said Ona, on the phone to the Queen Penguin. "Just marvelous," she replied. "I would lost all hope of ever eating decent food again when this awful lockdown happened." "I'm very pleased," said Ona. "But I should like to order some more," said the Queen, "and I have some friends who should also like to do the same. Word has got around." "Good grief, that's wonderful news," said Ona. "How many friends?" The Queen reeled off a list of names as long as Ona's arm. "Some are wondering if you might be doing other meals as well?" she asked. "Well, yes," said Ona. "We had planned two breads and few choice meals." "Marvelous," said the Queen. "Send me a menu, but I am certain we will take them all. Everyone will be overjoyed." "You will take them all?" said Ona. "Absolutely," said the Queen. "Your delivery boy will need a bigger bag." "Thank you," said Ona. "You don't know how much this means to us." "Believe me," said the Queen, "it won't be as much as what it means to me." Chapter 6. A Magical Solution. Ona visited Madame Le Pig in her kitchen to tell her the good news. The Chef was staring intently at a jar half full of gloopy watery flour. What are you doing? Asked Ona. Watching these bubbles, snapped Leaping. Ona tried to pour the bubbles in the jar. I can't see any, she said. What is it? It is a sourdough starter, said Madame Leaping, her eyes focused on the jar. Ah, what? Asked Ona. Madame Leaping sniffed. It is a mix of flour and water, she said. Over time it collects natural yeast from the air. It is pure magic. Wow, said Ona. She looked closer. It just looks like a dollop of goo to me, she said. Shh, snorted Leaping. Go away before you scare it. It is alive and I wish to keep it that way. Without this I will not have bread for you. If you say so, said Ona. Anyway, orders are in for your meals and more scones. The royal penguins were delighted. Madame Leaping eyebrow raised a little. Of course they were, she said. Ona placed a list of all the orders on the table next to the jar of sourdough and starter, and she slittered away. Like I said, we have got lots of orders, said Ona. Best get cooking. Leaping shooted her away. Yes, yes, she snorted. Ona delivered a bowl of lettuce soup to Mrs. Trumpington up in the royal suite, and found the old tortoise very happy in her new surroundings. It's perfect up here, dear, she said. I can't see the sea and all of Animal Boulevard, and what wonderful entertainment! What do you mean? Asked Ona. The flamingo out on the terrace, said the tortoise. I can hear them perfectly, and I thought my hearing was bad. Ona looked out of the window and saw the flamingos rehearsing. You can hear them all the way up here, she said. Oh yes, said Mr. Pinkton. They are very loud. The sound really does travel. Ona gazed from the terrace down to the sea. She knew how much Miss Fraganti was desperate to perform, but while still in lockdown it would be impossible to put on a performance. I really must find a way to get them an audience, said Ona. I can't imagine what it's like not being able to do thing you love, said Mrs. Stubbington. Me neither, said Ona. It must be awful. When Bobby turned up for work the following day, he looked at the steaming tour of meals awaiting him in the revolving door of the hotel. There's no way these will fit in my bag, he said. Bobby's bike didn't have a basket. Perhaps, said Ona. Stella can sort something out for you. Bobby shrugged. You'd better hurry up, said Bobby. It's all going cold, right? said Ona. Anna found Stella out in her work shed and went pose with Bobby's dilemma. The giraffe jumped at the chance to help. Let me see this bike, then, she said, sucking through her teeth. Stella grabbed her tool, screw, and few planks of wood and walked through the hotel to the lobby. There it is, said T-Bear. It's only a small bike. Stella passed T-Bear her measuring tape. Get him to measure the handlebars for me, said Stella. Bobby did as he was told and relayed the size. Stella got quickly to work sawing and hammering on the immaculately clean lobby floor. Don't tell Hilary, said Ona. Don't you worry, said T-Bear. I won't. After about 20 minutes of hard work, Stella had something to show for her efforts. It was a large open crate with metal clasps attached to the bottom. Hang on, said Stella, skipping away. She turned with a can of spray paint and a stencil. With one strong squirt of the bright pink paint, Stella had embellished a flamingo onto its front. No, now it's ready, she said. T-Bear lifted up the crate and passed it through a window to Bobby. It fitted perfectly to Bobby's handlebars, and he loaded it up with meals. Not bad, he said, leaping onto the saddle. With a swear he paddled off down the road. Great work, Stella, said Ona. Stella nodded in approval. Not bad, even if I do say to myself, she replied. So kids, I think that's enough for tonight, and I will read next chapter tomorrow. Have good sleep and don't forget to listen the next part tomorrow night. And also don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you are new here. Bye.